MagMod is a very interesting company that came out not too long ago. I believe they were crowdfunded, and they came out with the invention of magnetized speedlight modifiers. Now, that might sound complicated to people who don't necessarily know what modifiers are, but essentially modifiers are equipment that photographers use to shape and mold lighting. It's probably one of the most important things outside of your camera and your lens, your ability to mold, shape, and utilize and control light. And with MagMod bringing out something that was so needed in the photography industry, especially at events, today we're going to be talking about the MagSphere and the MagBounce. These are two of the major speedlight modifiers for MagMod. Let's get right into it. So what you're looking at is a power comparison chart between the MagSphere and the MagBounce. This is very important because if you're using a speed light, you need to know how much power you're taking away from the speed light to create the light quality that you want. By putting these modifiers on here, you're actually allowing yourself to get better light quality, but it's going to come at the cost of power. Now, different modifiers take up certain amounts of power to give you the light effectiveness that you want. Now, on the left side here with this first column is you have different scenarios. So you have the no mod bare direct. That's essentially the flash with no modifier on it at all. Bare direct flash, and most people are never going to use it this way, but you need to understand how much power you start off with. So that's what that's there. You have the MagBounce in the up direction. Understand that the MagBounce is only designed to be used in the up direction. You can put it to the left or you can put it to the right, but it's always going to be in the up direction because it's designed to bounce within itself. So there's that. Now you have the MagSphere, in the up direction, and you have the MagSphere in the direct direction. You can use them in both directions, but you have to understand that there's a light cost to both. But you can still use the MagSphere in the up and direct direction. And let's get into the power readings. Now, with the lithium ion flashpoint flash that I was using, it's at max power, and let's go through the power readings. But it will be at 46 inches away for all these readings. And you have the MagBounce. It's the first one. Well, the bare direct flash is at f16, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that. But going to the MagBounce in the up direction, you get an f8. Now you're losing 2 stops of light, and you might be saying, well, what does that mean? Well, if you are at ISO 100, you're going to have to go to ISO 400 to compensate for the light loss from going to a no modifier to putting that modifier on there. Not too bad, but you have to understand that 2 stops of light is going to eat at your battery power over the length of your event or whatever it is you're doing, your shoot, whatever you're doing. So you have the MagSphere in the up direction. Now at max power on the flash, you get a 563 reading. Now that's a loss of 3 stops. Now that's a lot of power. So say for example you're at ISO 100. To compensate for the amount of light that you just lost, you're going to have to go to an ISO 800. So wow, that is a lot of light, and that's a pretty high ISO for older cameras. So not pretty high, but it's getting up there. Now newer cameras can handle ISO 800 like your R5s, your R6s. But if you're rolling with something like a T3i or T4i or T7 or T7i, maybe even like an 80D, I wouldn't push it past 800 for fear of the noise making a complaint from the customer. So going to the MagSphere in the up direction at max power, you have an f5.63. Like I said, those 3 stops are a lot. Going to the MagSphere in the direct direction, you got an f13, which is 2/3 of 1 stop. So that's not bad at all. So say for example 2/3 of a stop, if you're at ISO 100, you probably have to go to like ISO 160 to compensate for the amount of light loss from bare flash to MagSphere in the direct orientation towards your subject. So at the end of the day, it seems like the most power efficient is the MagSphere direct, but the light quality that I like is the MagBounce in the up direction, and that's pretty much a little bit more than a stop worth of light difference between the MagBounce in the up direction and the MagSphere in the direct direction. These will probably be the only 2 like methods that I'll be using these two modifiers. So if I had the MagBounce, I'd have it in the up direction. If I had the MagSphere, I have it in the direct direction. And the reason why is because the MagSphere is for me to save power. I want some good light quality, but I'll save some power while I'm using it. Yeah, but if I really wanted to really show out and have all my lighting from like speed light images, I would probably have the MagBounce in the up direction the entire time and compensate via ISO or adding more batteries to my flash or changing the flash, because if you change the flash, you don't have to worry about the other flashes overheating, because if one flash overheats, you can just change out the flash and it starts from a blank slate. Make sense? All right, let's keep going. So with the MagMod system, now note that this is the first version of it. They've come out with a second version recently, but the MagMod system has its own pros and cons. While we're talking about the cons, we have to understand that the MagMod system comes with two heavy-duty magnets on the mag grip. Now, the mag grip is that rubber / silicone. I'm not sure exactly what it is, or if it's like a combination of both, but the mag grip is what you put on your speed light or your circular head speed light, your round head speed light. It can fit on both, but it has two heavy duty magnets. Now, there's two magnets that are in the mag grip and two magnets that are in the corresponding MagSphere or MagBounce, and any other modifier that you put on the mag grip. Now understand that if these magnets come out of the mag grip, they are really like magnetized. They are hard to separate from each other, and opposites attract, of course, so they have the opposite magnet on the opposite part of what it connects to, essentially. Now if these magnets come out, they are hard to detach from each other, and it could put you through some trouble if you're on a gig and they come out in your bag. Now after having these MagMods for about 3 to 4 years now, they have come out of their own slot in the bag, in my camera bag. So rolling around with the MagMods, they have like attached to other magnetic things or other metals in my bag, and they will start to slide out of the mag grip. They will also slide out of the mag modifiers, the MagSphere and the MagBounce. There's only like 2 of them, but you have to understand that they're probably sitting at the bottom of your bag or stuck to some piece of equipment that is metallic and magnetic. So you just gotta understand that after a while, or as you're utilizing it, that you make sure those magnets stay in place and that they stay away from other magnetic things in your bag. Also, you want to understand that the mag grip itself is probably the thing that gets the most use out of all your MagMod modifiers. If you have one MagMod modifier, that's one thing, but if you have 2, that mag grip is going to see a lot of action. And so over time, the mag grip probably has the strongest magnets in it, and the magnet starts to push through the mag grip. Only thing else is that these things are big and flappy, essentially, especially the MagBounce. Even though it has the best lighting, even though it has it makes you feel confident as a photographer that your picture is going to come out well, the MagBounce has the most weight to it. So when the MagBounce is on top of your speed light, it will move your speed light if your speed light doesn't have like an angle lock on it. You know how you can lock your speed light at different angles on the head of the speed light where the flash is? Well, when you put a MagMod on it, it tends to flap and move and change the direction of your flash. So you have to always readjust where your flash is. And since it only can be in the up direction, I would like to have a speed light modifier locked in that direction, but it doesn't always happen that way. You're at events, you bump into people, and some, like my speed lights, don't have locks on them. You need to get locks on your speed lights flash point. Hopefully in the budget you can make it happen. But I remember my Canon 430EX a long time ago, it had lock on its speed light angles, so I didn't have to worry about my modifiers being knocked out of direction. They are nice and sturdy. as far as pros, I mean, everything that I went through is all pros. I mean, like, the light quality from both of these things are nice. They are more durable than any other modifier, and they're probably some of the most popular modifiers to put on top of your speed light. Other speed lights have copied this magnetization that you can magnetize your own, little modifiers, and the modifiers weigh a little bit less, especially with flashpoint. But at the end of the day, MagMod has bigger modifiers, therefore the light comes out softer, more flattering, more, I want to say, tamed, and it makes it look more professional. So at the end of the day, having any of these modifiers on your speed light will do you better than not having any modifier at all. Now, talking all these technical things and all these professional things that you don't necessarily have to worry about if you're a hobbyist, all these other things, it's not the end of the world. Might not be what you want to hear, but I know one thing that you probably want to see is the model. I want to thank Anoush for coming out and helping me film this. I took some pictures with her with the MagBounce, and some pictures with her with the MagSphere. Alright, so we're back in Lightroom, and we have two images. The blue one is the MagBounce, the red one is the MagSphere. Now, when it comes to understanding your light quality and what kind of lighting you're getting, you need to understand your shadows. Your shadows really tell you everything you need to know. As far as the highlights are nice and even because the modifier allows it to be nice and even. On most modifiers, once you start bouncing and things of that nature, you pretty much get even highlights because it tends to take on the shape of the surface and gets that emitted to the subject instead of it coming out in random ways coming out of the head of your speed light. So you got the blue with the MagBounce. Now let's look in the shadows. Now the first thing you want to do, look in the shadows, and these shadows are pretty soft. This is probably the hardest line shadow that we get right here on the leg line. But as far as the shadows, the clothing on top of itself here, there's a little bit of heavy shadow right here. Some of that is actually from the sun, but you can tell that the softer shadows here are mainly from the light modifier itself. And the shadows under the chin, a little bit of an abrupt shadow to highlight transition, but for the most part, it's nice and it's solid and soft and even. So that's the MagBounce. Now let's go to the MagSphere. Now, as you can see, we have a little bit harder of a transition here going to the shadow side on the face. There's even harder shadows right there on the hand, which is very, very interesting. And there's harder shadows as the light hits the this little board here, and harder shadows, especially through the hair. That's something you always want to look at. You want to make sure you understand the shadows as they come through the hair, because the hair or any kind of dappled light will tell you what quality of light you're getting from a light source. If you look at fine contrast, the edges, and when light can shine through something else and cast a shadow onto something else, look at that shadow, because it will let you know what kind of a situation you have with your light quality. But most of these shadows are a lot heavier. The subject is a lot contrastier when it comes to this face and all the lines in the face. Let's go back to the MagBounce. MagBounce is a lot softer, as you can see here. Everything is a lot softer. The transition from lines are a lot softer. I did edit these a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can kind of see where these lines are a lot darker. Not a lot darker, but just vaguely darker there. And let's get a comparison here of both of these. And you can see that with the MagSphere, this is the MagSphere, and it's actually off camera. Also with the MagBounce, is off camera as well. And with these two light sources, you can tell that they're in the upper, with the catch light, you can tell they're in the upper right hand corner of the face, trying to get a short loop lighting pattern on the opposite side of the face as much as we can. But you can tell right here that the shadow is a lot darker on this side of the face than it is on this side here. So the shadows, especially when it hits the face of the model, it is definitely the difference maker. Even though we have a heavy shadow right here from the MagSphere, the MagBounce, that it's nowhere near as harsh in the face as far as when it comes to the light quality. It's less contrasty, more softy, more flattering for the subject. Whereas not necessarily, I want to say harsher, but it's more poppy, more contrasty. And if your person has a lot of imperfections in the face, it will stand out a lot more with the MagSphere here. The MagSphere also, it shows a little bit more heavier lineage around the neck and the body area, but all in all, my favorite is the MagSphere here. The MagBounce here. This is the MagBounce. This is the MagSphere. But the MagBounce is my favorite. It just takes up so much light to get you that quality, and also everything looks a bit more, how would I say? And this is a little bit of editing, but the light really bonds around everything. It's like more homogenized. Everything is more together. Notice that I up the ISO for the MagBounce over the MagSphere here. The MagSphere is also direct, so that helps out a lot. So if you were in a pinch, like I said, use the MagSphere here because it'll save you a lot more power. Whereas the MagBounce, it definitely keeps you in a nice, I want to say, it feels like an all-encompassing, softer, more inviting look, but at the same time, you lose a lot of power and you have to raise the ISO. Now, if you have a 1.4 lens like I'm using here, just for an example, then you have little to worry about because you are letting in a lot of light. But if you're taking a lot of group pictures and they're not portraits, then you might need to stop it down to maybe f4, f5.6, maybe even f8 at some points. And that MagBounce, it will definitely eat up a lot of power, whereas the MagSphere will probably still go on all day. MagSphere on your speed light will probably last double the amount of time than the MagBounce as far as how much power they both need and not draining your speed light too much. So that's it for today's episode, guys. I just wanted you guys to see the difference between the MagBounce and the MagSphere. Oh yeah, and here's the boxing, by the way. The boxing is very, very interesting. When I got the MagMods in the mail or wherever I purchased them from, I got them and I noticed that even the boxes were magnetized. I was so elated to see how thorough they went with this magnet idea. Not only do we get magnetic products, but we also get magnetic boxes that also keep you thinking about magnetism. It's amazing the amount of work, product endorsement, all this stuff that MagMod is doing, all this advertisement, and it's great. I love it. It's what the people wanted. They crowdfunded it, and now you have a company that's so thorough, trying to ensure that you have the best light quality coming out of your speed lights. That's amazing. And also they have salt boxes in now and different other products that are just as amazing. Really. Also, I want to give a shout out to those little speed light adapters that attach your speed light to a light stand that MagMod makes. They look sturdy. I want to buy some. I also want to buy the second version of these MagMods. I'm getting a lot more events now, so I need more modifiers to get through. But wow, MagMod has been doing it. I'm going to find a way for you guys to support in the links in the description, but you can always click on the links in the description to support the channel and get me going so I can get more viewers, more subscribers, and I can be around for a long time to come. Thank you for watching the video and stay tuned for the next episode.